Welcome back to the Holy Land Uncovered. I'm Jordana Miller. A new initiative is trying to bring together Jews from different streams of Judaism. It's called Mechasshey Kedem, the Hebrew title for Rejuvenate the Days of Old. And joining us is one of the founders of this new enterprise, Udi Dvorkin. Udi, thanks so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Some people would say what you're doing is holy work because there are so many divisions between Jews, not only here in Israel, but around the world. Tell me a little bit more about your group.
So our organization was sort of born between the gaps. We are working both between Israel and the diaspora and between denominations, meaning we are trying to bring together the Dati Leumi, the National Orthodox community here in Israel, and the liberal religious world, mostly North America, but definitely from all over the world. As we can imagine, those two religious worlds rarely meet and speak. Usually when they meet, it's about a crisis, a conversion, kotel, and other disputes we have. We're trying to bring together in a different landscape.
And what is that landscape?
So this landscape is about getting to know each other. As any case of ignorance, people don't know each other. Most National Orthodox, the Dati Leumi people in Israel, when they argue with a Reformed Jew, they imagine a stereotype from Germany, 19th century. And most liberal Jews in North America, when they argue with the Dati Leumi, with the National Orthodox Jew in Israel, they argue with, at best, with a stereotype from CNN or something. People rarely
mean
meet.
a settler?
Like a settler, exactly. People rarely meet. So we try to bring them together and meet around texts, around mutual joint text, Torah, Talmud, Midrash, as well as arts, poetry, anything that can bring them together. You know, the Jewish people is like a family, and we're a dysfunctional family.
We are dysfunctional, that's
We're
true.
Definitely dysfunctional.
A lot of love, but a lot of dysfunction.
Exactly. And as any family, the end could be a divorce, but it could also mean going to therapy. And when you go to therapy, you get to know each other, and that's what we're trying to do.
So are you trying to build kind of a tolerance among these groups, or is it about understanding religious tenets having a shared or common value, or is it more about acceptance and tolerance?
So I would say the core values are profoundly different, inherently different. And there's a lot of organizations, both in Israel and in North America, that are trying to either liberalize orthodoxy or the religious sphere in Israel, or they're trying to get a more frumkeit, halachic,
more religious.
in North America. We're not trying this nor that. What we're trying to do is to get people to understand that even though they are inherently different and that their bases are different, they have to learn to work with each other. You know, the reality in the Jewish people is that we have two centers, and the religious center in Israel is predominantly Orthodox, and the religious center in North America is predominantly liberal. If those two centers won't learn how to coexist and to interact together with each other, then the two centers will basically develop two different entities of religion. And we're trying to avoid that, to avoid a growing detachment between the two segments.
So how does this play out? Do you have, can people, for example, learn or study or talk online, or is it at a center?
So we are taking groups to each other, meaning we're taking, for example, we're taking rabbinical students from liberal rabbinical schools. It could be Reform, HUC, it could be conservative JTS and others, to yeshivot and midrashot, all across the spectrum in the Dati Leumi, in the National Orthodox community in Israel. And they're learning together. They're not going to the yeshivot to become Orthodox.
Right.
They're going to study together. And the same goes the other way. We're having groups of rabbanim, rabbis, leaders, youth leaders, educators that are coming to liberal institutions. So rather than creating a new institution and trying to bring them together, we are attempting, usually successfully, I can say, to bring them to the institution of the other, somewhere they would never imagine they could visit. We have students that have never visited a yeshiva, conservative rabbinical students or Reform rabbinical students. They would never imagine that a yeshiva would welcome them with open arms. They would assume a yeshiva would try to convince them. And the same goes to the other direction. And when people come in and the first thing they hear is, well, that's where we drink coffee, that's the most important place. And when they schmooze together and we chat together, and then when they open a book and study together, suddenly they understand, yes, they are inherently different and they're not going to convince each other. And they argue throughout most of the session. We're not trying to show them that we are all similar and then singing Kumbaya together. That's not what we're about. We are trying to show them that even though we are different, we can relate to each other. In order to have a discussion, in order to have an argument, you have to talk to each other.
Right. And how is your program being received by the people who are taking part in it? What's the feedback you're getting?
The feedback is overwhelmingly good. I would say we had some setbacks in the beginning. We learned we need more learning before they meet each other, because really the level of knowledge about the other side is very low. So we first get them to understand key demographical and cultural facts about the other side they're going to meet, and then they're meeting together. And I would say that once they understand, it's not about changing who they are, but rather fighting, rebuking each other, but doing it together as a family. You know, nobody have a Shabbos table when they all agree with each other.
Right, this is true.
Everybody fights.
This is true, right.
But we need to learn how to fight, how to argue with each other. Once they understand that, it's overwhelmingly successful.
Wow, thank you so much. Terrific work that you're involved in. Thanks for sharing it with us.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere. We have so much more coming up for you here on the Holy Land Uncovered. Stay with us.